They thought it would be just another segment, an interview tucked neatly between commercials, a late-night sit-down between a well-known provocateur and a man born into legacy. A routine taping. Nothing more. But the moment the studio lights flicked on, something in the air shifted. It wasn't just anticipation. It was a charge, like the static before a storm. It wasn't the host who made the crew double-check the cameras. It wasn't the crowd that made the floor manager pace behind the curtain. It was the name on the guest card. Not a senator. Not a Hollywood star. It was Prince Harry, no longer of Buckingham, but of controversy. He wasn't just a guest. He was a headline waiting to happen. Behind the scenes, Prince Harry stood in front of the green room mirror. His navy suit fit like armor. Tailored. Sharp. His cuffs sat just right on his wrists as he adjusted them for the third time, not out of vanity, but control. His face was tight, his gaze colder than usual, almost rehearsed. There was no nervousness. Just calculation. He wasn't there to be charming. He was there to be heard. His team stood quietly behind him, hands folded, eyes darting to their phones. They'd sold this appearance as an opportunity to reshape the story, to reclaim a narrative that had spiraled from sympathy to scrutiny. But anyone familiar with Bill Maher's studio knew one thing. This wasn't a place for curated talking points. It was a place where comfort zones went to die. Out on the floor, Bill Maher leaned back in his chair, glancing at his note cards with a crooked smirk. "A prince," he muttered under his breath. "Let's see how royal the ego is tonight." The countdown hit 0. Cameras rolled. Applause rose. With a practiced half-smile, Maher greeted his viewers. "Tonight," he began, his tone wry, "we have a man who walked away from Buckingham Palace but never quite walked away from the spotlight. Please welcome Prince Harry." The studio clapped again, less enthusiastic now, more curious. Maybe even cautious. Harry entered with the air of someone used to being watched. His stride was firm, not stiff, and his expression blank but confident. He nodded to the audience but didn't offer a smile. His energy didn't ask for approval, it expected it. He took his seat opposite Maher and crossed one leg over the other, shoulders relaxed but eyes alert. There was a casual dominance in his posture, like a man who's not used to being challenged, but prepared to act like he is. "Good to be here," Harry said, his voice neutral. It wasn't warm. It wasn't cold. It was measured. Controlled. Maher didn't ease into it. "So, Harry," he said, folding his hands together, "how's life in exile?" The audience chuckled. Harry didn't. "It's not exile when it's your choice," he replied coolly. "I left behind toxicity, not home." Maher raised an eyebrow. "Toxicity? You mean the palaces? The parades? The titles?" Harry leaned forward, just slightly. "You'd be surprised how suffocating a gold-plated cage can be, Bill." Maher chuckled, leaning back. "Fair enough. Though I bet most people watching wouldn't mind being locked in one of those cages." The first few exchanges danced on the edge of humor, but something darker stirred beneath the surface. The crowd sensed it. Polite laughter hung too long in the air. The subtext was louder than the dialogue. Maher pivoted. "Let's talk about Spare," he said. "You bared a lot, especially about your family. Some critics say you weaponized your trauma to sell copies." Harry's lips twitched. "What I did was tell the truth," he said. "I didn't hide behind palace statements or press teams." "But you did hide behind a $100 million Netflix deal," Maher quipped. Laughter again. Louder this time. Harry's jaw tightened. "Those deals fund causes, mental health, climate change. Maybe you've heard of them." "Oh, I've heard of them," Maher replied with a grin. "I just didn't know advocating for the planet required quite so many private jets." More laughter. This time, Harry didn't even pretend to smile. "I suppose I should be flattered," he said quietly. "You've clearly done your homework." "I always do," Maher answered smoothly. The energy shifted. The air felt denser now, like both men had dropped their masks and sharpened their knives. "You once said you left to protect Meghan from the media circus," Maher said, eyes narrowing. "But didn't you just move the circus to California?" Harry's voice dropped. Meghan and I created a space where we control the message. Yes, Ma nodded. And now you're sitting here in my space trying to control mine. A beat of silence. You invited me here, Harry said, his tone tightening. I invite people to talk, Ma shot back. Not to spin. The room cooled by 10 degrees. You could feel it. The audience sat straighter in their seats. They weren't watching a conversation anymore. They were watching a clash. You've called out the monarchy for racism, rigidity, coldness, Mar said. Do you regret anything you said? Harry's smirk returned. No. I said what needed to be said. And clearly, people listened. Look where I am now. There it was, the first real flash of arrogance. The prince wasn't just answering anymore. He was performing. Delivering proclamations like they were royal decrees. Mar didn't blink. Interesting, he said. You left the institution. But now you're building your own. Titles. Press. Influence. It's like you didn't leave the palace. You just moved the furniture. That one hit. The audience murmured. You could feel the tremor ripple through the room. Harry didn't respond immediately. He sat still, as if weighing the damage. Then, his voice dropped again, lower and firmer. You don't understand what it means to have your every move judged. To watch your wife be torn apart daily. You sit behind this desk and make jokes. I lived it. And yet here you are, Ma replied calmly, still in the spotlight. Still selling the story. Their eyes locked. Neither moved. Neither blinked. The opening moves were over. The real game had begun. Prince Harry shifted in his chair, the earlier flicker of annoyance giving way to something heavier, indignation. His jaw was more set now, his eyes darker. The effort to maintain royal composure was cracking at the edges, and the audience could feel it. Across from him, Bill Maher leaned back, slowly spinning the pen in his fingers like a blade he wasn't quite ready to use, but absolutely would. His posture remained casual, but the words that came out now had weight behind them. They were precise. Intentional. Each one designed to dig just deep enough to draw a reaction. You know, Harry, Bill said, voice calm, almost friendly, a lot of people felt bad for you. The tabloids. The paparazzi. The palace drama. But isn't there a point, he paused, where sympathy turns into exhaustion? Harry tilted his head, eyes narrowing slightly. What does that mean? Bill didn't blink. It means the world has had front-row seats to your pain, your book, your documentary, your podcast. But lately, people are starting to wonder, when does the healing actually begin? And when does the monetizing end? There was a low ripple through the audience, soft murmurs, a few exchanged glances. The question had landed. Harry's nostrils flared, just barely. His voice stayed level. Sharing my story isn't monetizing trauma. It's reclaiming it. Bill gave a half-smile, measured and dry. Sure. But when Netflix gives you $100 million to reclaim it, that story starts to come with a price tag. Harry leaned forward, just slightly. His hands rested on his thighs, fingers pressing into the fabric. Let's be clear, he said, his tone sharper now. I didn't write Spare for a paycheck. I wrote it because the palace never let me speak. Bill countered without missing a beat. So instead, you let Penguin Random House do it for you. The studio reacted, some gasps, some laughter. But Harry wasn't smiling. That warmth he carried when speaking about advocacy or personal growth was gone. What remained was something harder. Colder. You're being flippant about something serious, he said, and his voice dropped in temperature. Maybe because you've never had to run from paparazzi with your wife terrified for her life. No, Bill said honestly. But I've also never held a global platform and used it to settle scores. The room froze. That one pierced. Harry's composure slipped, for just a second. A twitch at the jaw. A narrowing of the eyes. Subtle, but telling. He turned his head slightly, not to avoid Bill, but to recalibrate. When he looked back, his voice was lower, but full of steel. You think this is about settling scores, he said. This is about breaking cycles. Bill nodded, as if conceding a point, at least in tone. Then why, he asked, Do the cycles keep getting press releases? Harry inhaled through his nose, slow and deep. Because people like you keep asking the wrong questions. Another murmur from the crowd. The tension in the room wasn't just palpable, it was thick, clinging to every breath. Bill tapped his index finger on the cards before him, but didn't bother to glance at them. He already knew what came next. "All right," he said. "Let me try a different one. Do you honestly believe the public owes you something?" Harry blinked once. "What?" "You've said the public betrayed you," Bill continued. "That the media hunted you. That the monarchy failed you. But have you ever stopped to ask, what do you owe the public?" There it was. A full pause. No one moved. Harry didn't respond right away. He stared directly at Bill, then down toward his own hand, now clenched slightly over his knee. When he did speak, his voice was low but certain. "I owe them honesty," he said. "Even," Bill pressed, "when that honesty paints everyone else as the villain?" Harry didn't flinch. "If the truth makes people uncomfortable, that's not my fault." Bill leaned forward now, pen still in hand. "Is it always someone else's fault, then?" The studio drew a collective breath. Every ear leaned in. Harry sat straighter in his chair, voice lifting with tension. "You don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. You sit here on your show trying to tear people down for ratings." Bill cut in, crisp and quiet. "I call out hypocrisy. If that stings, maybe it's because it hits close." That landed. Harry's face flushed for the first time, just a shade of pink over his cheeks, but more than enough to be caught by the camera. He looked away, jaw tight, muscles in his neck visibly tensed. Bill didn't let up. "Let's talk about Meghan." Harry turned his head slowly back toward the host, his eyes sharpened into slits. "Careful." But Bill didn't pause. "You've said she was targeted, mistreated, even pushed to the edge." "I believe that. But do you really think all her critics are just haters? Or did you maybe underestimate what it meant to be under that kind of spotlight?" Harry's voice was nearly a growl now, dropped into the lowest register. "You want to talk about Meghan," he said. "You don't get to question her strength from the safety of that desk." "I'm not questioning her strength," Bill said, cool and steady. "I'm questioning whether you both understood what accountability looks like when you turned your lives into a brand." Harry stood, not fully, but halfway out of his chair. His fingers gripped the arms tightly. A few gasps echoed from the crowd. "We didn't turn our lives into a brand," he said. "The world did. We're just trying to survive it." Bill nodded slowly. "Then why come back into the fire?" Harry stared at him, unmoving. "To take control of the flame." There was applause, half-hearted, unsure. Some in the audience admired the defiance. Others noted the arrogance tucked inside it. Bill stayed motionless. Then, after a long pause, he spoke one word. Quietly. "Control." It hung in the air like a final note in an orchestra. "That's the word, isn't it?" Harry didn't answer. He didn't need to. The silence stretched between them, tight, electric, alive. This wasn't about questions anymore. Or answers. Or even the show. This was a battle over narrative, identity, and power. Two men locked in a quiet war, each refusing to blink first. And the lights were still rolling. The pressure was still building. No one knew who would break it. But something was going to give. "But you live in a $14 million mansion in Montecito," Bill said, calmly tapping his pen. "Private security. Controlled press access. Headlines when you want them. Silence when you don't. That's not exile, Harry. That's just another palace." Harry let out a low breath, measured but tight. "You think this is about money? Because I left one institution, I'm no longer allowed to have a home or protect my family." Bill leaned in slightly. "I think you want to be seen as a victim while living like a king." The audience rippled with tension. The camera tightened on Harry's face. His eye twitched, just enough to betray the heat behind his stillness. "You don't know what it's like to be hunted," he snapped. "To fear for your wife and children every time they step outside." Then why keep feeding the very beast you claim to escape? Bill shot back. Books, interviews, documentaries. You say you want peace, but you keep lighting fires. Harry leaned forward, voice low and cold. You don't understand. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to tell my truth. Bill's tone didn't waver. Then tell it. But don't pretend it's selfless. This isn't activism. It's performance. This is my life, Harry said, his voice raised now, sharp. And you sold it, Bill said flatly. Harry's face went hard. He sat up, voice rising. You're not a journalist. You profit off people's pain. Bill didn't flinch. And you're a prince who traded the crown for a platform, and made yourself the symbol of victimhood. Harry stood. The room shifted. The producers stiffened behind the scenes. No one cut to commercial. They were frozen. You don't deserve this platform, Harry said, pointing at him. You twist pain into punchlines. You twist truth into narrative. Bill stayed seated, eyes locked. And that narrative just cracked. Harry turned, signaled to his team. He reached the edge of the stage. Then paused. This was a mistake, he muttered, not looking back. But something in him refused to walk away. He turned again. 2 steps. Back on stage. He didn't sit. He stood straight across from Bill's desk, arms crossed. You think this is over? Harry snapped. You humiliated me. You came here expecting praise, Bill said. That's not how this works. I gave everything up for a better life, Harry barked. No, Bill said coolly. You walked away and sold the story. Netflix, book deals, podcasts. Watch yourself, Harry growled. Bill finally stood. The tension cracked the air like glass. You don't intimidate me, he said. I've debated presidents. Survived cancellation. I don't fear you. I'm not dangerous, Harry sneered. I'm just done being polite. That much is clear, Bill said. But this is my show, and your ego doesn't get to hijack it. You think I didn't just destroy your career? Harry hissed. I think they saw who you really are, Bill said. And it wasn't the hero in your memoir. Silence. Raw and electrified. Security stepped in. You think this is over? Harry whispered. No, Bill said. I think you're over. Harry glared, unmoving. Bill turned to the camera. We invited a guest. We got a tantrum. This interview ends here. Security approached. Don't touch me, Harry barked. You want privacy? Bill said. Then leave. You want peace. Start with accountability. But royalty doesn't rewrite the rules here. Harry clenched his jaw. You'll regret this, he said. Bill didn't blink. I'd regret letting it continue. And Harry walked off. What do you think? Did Prince Harry stand his ground or completely lose control on live TV? Was Bill out of line, or just doing his job as a host? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if you want more shocking confrontations, raw, unscripted moments, and behind-the-scenes drama you won't find anywhere else, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next Meltdown.